Have you ever wondered if there's a secret, a single powerful secret, that all truly successful people share? Not just a trick of the trade or a lucky break, but a fundamental law of achievement, as real and as dependable as the law of gravity. What if that secret wasn't reserved for the brilliant, the highly educated, or the well-connected, but was available to anyone, anywhere, who learned to apply it? This is not a question of mere speculation. It is the very question that launched one of the most ambitious studies of success ever undertaken. For over 20 years, a man named Napoleon Hill was tasked by the legendary industrialist Andrew Carnegie to uncover this very secret. Hill didn't just study books. He interviewed over 500 of the most successful men of his era, titans like Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, and John D. Rockefeller. He dissected their lives, their habits, and most importantly, their thought processes. And he found it. He discovered a secret so potent that it was the common denominator in every story of great fortune and achievement. He codified this secret into a philosophy, a concrete set of 13 steps. This philosophy is the heart of the book, Think and Grow Rich. But a warning, this is not a book about mere positive thinking. It is a book about applying specific principles to transmute a burning desire for something into its physical reality. It is a manual for achieving whatever you ask of life. So let us begin at the beginning, with the first and most fundamental step on this path to riches, of every kind. Chapter 1: The Power of Thought. Everything we see around us, every skyscraper, every invention, every business empire began in a single, solitary place: the mind. Before a thing can be created, it must first be conceived. This is the foundational premise of Think and Grow Rich. Thoughts are not just ephemeral wisps, they are things. They possess a powerful, tangible energy, especially when they are mixed with definiteness of purpose, persistence, and a burning desire for their translation into reality. Hill's research revealed that every one of the 500 millionaires he studied had one thing in common, even before they had money. They all had a clear, focused knowledge of what they wanted, and an unshakable belief that they could achieve it. Their minds were fertile ground for the seeds of wealth, and they nurtured those seeds with unwavering attention. This chapter introduces us to the man who, perhaps more than any other, embodies the entire philosophy of this book: Edwin C. Barnes. Barnes had a burning desire to become a business associate of the great Thomas Edison. Think about that for a moment. He had no money, he didn't know Edison, and he had no obvious qualifications. By all conventional logic, his goal was impossible, a fantasy. But Barnes did not think in terms of impossibility. He thought in terms of what he wanted. He traveled to East Orange, New Jersey, and presented himself at Edison's laboratory. He did not look like a business associate, he looked like a tramp, but he had a fire in his eyes. He communicated his desire not just with words, but with his entire being. And Edison saw it. He was given a chance, not as a partner, but as a lowly employee. Years later, after demonstrating relentless persistence and dedication, he got the contract that made him Edison's business associate. His dream, conceived in thought and backed by an unyielding desire, had become a reality. The story of Barnes is not just an inspiring anecdote. It is proof that a burning desire is the starting point of all achievement. It is the first step in a process that, if followed, cannot fail. This process begins with your thoughts. You must first think yourself into riches before you can wallet yourself into them. But how do you focus this power? How do you take a vague wish and forge it into an unstoppable force? This brings us to the first of the 13 steps, the very engine of this entire philosophy. Then comes Chapter 2: Desire, the starting point of all achievement. Wishing will not bring riches, but desiring riches with a state of mind that becomes an obsession, then planning definite ways and means to acquire riches, and backing those plans with persistence which does not recognize failure, will bring riches. This is the principle of desire. The method by which desire for riches can be transmuted into its financial equivalent consists of 6 definite, practical steps. Hill instructs us to follow them closely, to burn them into our consciousness. First, fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire. It is not sufficient to say, "I want plenty of money." Be definite as to the amount. Second, determine exactly what you intend to give in return for the money you desire. There is no such reality as something for nothing. Third, establish a definite date by which you intend to possess this money. Fourth, create a definite plan for carrying out your desire and begin at once, whether you are ready or not, to put this plan into action. Fifth, write out a clear, concise statement of the amount of money you intend to acquire. Name the time limit for its acquisition. State what you intend to give in return for the money, and describe clearly the plan through which you intend to accumulate it. Sixth, read this written statement aloud, twice daily, once just before retiring at night, and once after arising in the morning. As you read, see, and feel and believe yourself already in possession of the money. These 6 steps are not casual suggestions. They are essential. They call for you to become a person of purpose, plan, and action. They require you to impress your desire upon your subconscious mind through repetition, faith, and emotion. This is how you take the first crucial step from being a wanderer to being a pilgrim on a definite, charted course. But to make this desire truly unstoppable, you must armor it against the one force that has defeated more people than any other: the fear of criticism, of failure, of what others might think. You must cultivate a state of mind that is impervious to doubt. Next is Chapter 3, Faith, the second step to riches. Faith is the head chemist of the mind. It is a state of mind that can be induced or created by affirmation or repeated instructions to the subconscious mind. Faith is the vital element that gives life, power, and action to the impulse of thought. It is the only agency through which the cosmic force of infinite intelligence can be harnessed and used by man. Faith is the eternal elixir which gives life, power, and action to the impulse of thought. Faith is the starting point of all accumulation of riches. Faith is the basis of all miracles and all mysteries which cannot be analyzed by the rules of science. How does one develop faith? It begins with autosuggestion, influencing your own subconscious mind. Remember those 6 steps from the chapter on desire. The repeated reading of your statement of purpose is a form of autosuggestion. You are giving your subconscious mind a direct order, and the subconscious mind is extraordinarily powerful. It does not reason inductively. It accepts the orders you give it, and it works day and night to carry them out. When you repeatedly affirm your desire and your belief in its attainment, you are building faith. This faith then begins to shape your actions, your demeanor, even your voice. It communicates itself to others, opening doors and creating opportunities that were not visible before. Faith is the antidote to fear. It is the unwavering belief that you can achieve your definite purpose, regardless of the circumstances that surround you. But faith alone is not a strategy. To build your fortune, you must become a student of your own mind, learning to direct its incredible power. This is where we delve into the art of influencing that most powerful of allies, your own subconscious. Now we will jump to Chapter 4, which is about autosuggestion, the medium for influencing subconscious mind. Autosuggestion is a term that simply means self-suggestion. It is the agency of communication between that part of the mind where conscious thought takes place and the subconscious mind. You are using autosuggestion all the time, whether you realize it or not. Every thought you dwell upon, every emotion you feed, is a form of autosuggestion. The key to success is to take control of this process, to direct it deliberately. Your subconscious mind is a fertile garden. If you do not plant the seeds of your choosing, weeds will grow there automatically, weeds of fear, doubt, worry, and poverty consciousness. Autosuggestion is the tool you use to deliberately plant and cultivate the seeds of desire, faith, and purpose. The practice is simple, though it requires consistency. It is the repetition of your definite chief aim, your statement of desire, until it becomes a deeply ingrained habit of thought. By reading your statement aloud twice a day with emotion and feeling, you are not just reading words. You are visualizing yourself in possession of the money. You are feeling the emotions of having achieved your goal. You are commanding your subconscious mind to find ways, to guide your actions, to attract the necessary circumstances to make it real. This is not magic. It is a psychological law. Any idea, plan, or purpose that you hold in your mind through repetition of thought, mixed with emotion, will eventually find a physical outlet through practical means. Your subconscious mind will inspire you with ideas. It will guide you to the right book, the right person, the right opportunity. Autosuggestion is the bridge that connects your conscious desires with the infinite intelligence and creative power of your subconscious. But to cross that bridge effectively, you must become a specialist in your own chosen field. You must possess knowledge, not just any knowledge, but organized, intelligently directed knowledge. So in Chapter 5, we will see the specialized knowledge, the fourth step to riches. There are two kinds of knowledge. One is general knowledge, which is useful but rarely by itself leads to the accumulation of riches. The other is specialized knowledge. This is the knowledge that is organized and intelligently directed through practical plans of action to the definite end of accumulating wealth. Successful men are not necessarily those with the most general knowledge, but always those who have the most specialized knowledge. Henry Ford, for example, was at one point accused of being ignorant because he couldn't answer a series of general knowledge questions. In response, Ford said, "If I should really want to answer the foolish questions you have just asked, let me remind you that I have a row of electric push buttons on my desk, and by pushing the right button, I can summon to my aid men who can answer any question I desire to ask concerning the business to which I am devoting most of my efforts." The point was profound. Ford may not have had all the knowledge in his own head, but he knew how to get it. He had specialized knowledge of how to organize and direct the knowledge of others. You do not need to know everything, but you do need to know how to get the specialized knowledge you require for your definite purpose. This may mean taking specialized courses, it may mean working in a particular industry to gain experience, or it may mean forming an alliance with a mastermind group, a concept we will explore soon. The most successful people are perpetual students in their chosen field. They never stop learning and adapting. Knowledge is only potential power. It becomes power only when it is organized into definite plans of action and directed to a definite end. But knowledge, even specialized knowledge, is inert without a catalyst. That catalyst is the imagination. And the Chapter 6 tells us about imagination, the workshop of mind. Ideas are the starting point of all fortunes. Ideas are products of the imagination. This is the workshop of the mind, where all plans are created. Man's only limitation within reason lies in his development and use of his imagination. There are two forms of imagination. The first is synthetic imagination. This faculty does not create anything new, but arranges old concepts, ideas, or plans into new combinations. It works with the material of experience, education, and observation. Most inventors are masters of synthetic imagination, combining known principles in novel ways to create something new. The second form is creative imagination. This is the faculty through which hunches and inspirations are received. It is the channel of communication between the finite human mind and infinite intelligence. This is the faculty that all great leaders, artists, and innovators tap into. It is the source of entirely new ideas. Your imagination is your most powerful tool. It is where you will shape your definite plan for achieving your desire. When your desire is clear and backed by faith, your imagination will go to work, synthesizing your specialized knowledge into practical plans. It will also receive flashes of creative insight, seemingly from nowhere, that provide the breakthrough you need. Hill tells the story of a down-on-his-luck preacher named Dr. Frank Gunsaulus, who had a burning desire to start a great college. He needed $1 million to do it. He sat in his humble study and used his imagination to create a plan. He decided he would preach a sermon called, "What I Would Do If I Had $1,000,000." He poured his entire soul into that sermon, laying out a detailed, imaginative plan. The sermon was so powerful, so vivid, that it caught the attention of a businessman named Philip D. Armour. Armour was so impressed by the clear, imaginative plan that he gave the preacher the $1,000,000. That college became the Armour Institute of Technology. The idea, born in the workshop of imagination, had attracted its physical equivalent. But an idea, no matter how brilliant, remains just an idea until it is given form and action through a plan. Chapter 7. Organized Planning, the Crystallization of Desire into Action. A goal is a dream with a deadline, and a plan is the blueprint for that dream. The sixth step to riches is to take your burning desire and translate it into an organized plan. Wishing for riches without a practical plan is just daydreaming. The first thing you must do is to ally yourself with a mastermind group. This is not just a nice idea, it is an absolute essential for lasting success. A mastermind group is a coordination of knowledge and effort in a spirit of harmony between two or more people for the attainment of a definite purpose. No individual can have great power without a mastermind. When two minds come together in harmony, a third, invisible, intangible force is created, which can be likened to a third mind. This collective mind has access to resources, ideas, and energy that no single individual possesses. Your plan should be flexible. If your first plan fails, replace it with a new plan. If this new plan fails, replace that in turn with another. Most people are defeated by one or two temporary defeats. The person who succeeds is the one who persists in revising their plans until they find one that works. This chapter provides practical advice for those seeking employment, teaching them to see themselves as a personal service corporation and to market their services effectively. It emphasizes knowing what you want, what you have to offer, and your definite plan for moving from where you are to where you want to be. It warns against indecision, drifting, and the fear of starting over. Remember, temporary defeat is not failure unless it is accepted as such. It is often a blessing in disguise, forcing you to develop a better, more effective plan. Your persistence in planning and replanning is the true test of your desire, and this persistence is fueled by a quality that is the very lifeblood of all sustained effort. Chapter 8. Decision, the Mastery of Procrastination. Analysis of over 25,000 people who experienced failure revealed that lack of decision was near the head of the list of the 31 major causes of failure. Procrastination, the opposite of decision, is a common enemy that every person must conquer. Successful people make decisions quickly and change them slowly, if and when a change is warranted. Unsuccessful people make decisions very slowly and change them frequently and quickly. Indecision is a habit that usually begins in youth and becomes hardened with every passing year. Henry Ford was noted for his quick, firm decisions. This very quality, sometimes perceived as stubbornness, was a primary reason for his colossal fortune. He made his decisions and stuck to them, even when all his advisors told him he was wrong. While he did make mistakes, like the infamous Model T that he refused to update for too long, his capacity for swift decision allowed him to build an empire that far outweighed his errors. The fear of criticism is the chief reason why people are indecisive. They are afraid of what others will say if they make a mistake. They let the opinions of relatives, friends, and the public at large dictate their lives. You must reach your own decisions and follow them. Take no one into your confidence except the members of your mastermind group, and even then, only when you are sure of their sympathy and harmony with your purpose. Be like a well-governed ship with a rudder. It responds instantly to the command of the helmsman. Your mind should be the same. When it is time to decide, decide. And once you have decided, act. Do not second-guess yourself. Do not look back. Move forward with your plan. This decisive action, however, is only sustainable if it is powered by a force that can outlast all setbacks, all delays, all criticism. Chapter 9. Persistence, the sustained effort necessary to induce faith. Persistence is to character what carbon is to steel. It is the one quality that guarantees all the others will not be in vain. It is the concentrated essence of willpower. Willpower and desire, when properly combined, make an irresistible pair. The basis of persistence is a definiteness of purpose, knowing exactly what you want. Without a burning desire, persistence is impossible. The ease with which people surrender in the face of difficulty is a measure of their weak desire. How do you develop persistence? There are 4 simple steps. First, a definite purpose backed by a burning desire. Second, a definite plan, expressed in continuous action. Third, a mind closed tightly against all negative and discouraging influences. Fourth, a friendly alliance with one or more persons who will encourage you to follow through with your plan. Persistence is a state of mind. It can be cultivated. Review the story of Barnes and his desire to work with Edison. He was met with a circumstance that looked like a defeat. He arrived looking like a tramp and was given a menial job. A less persistent man would have given up, but Barnes had a mind closed to negative influences. He persisted for years until he achieved his goal. Riches do not respond to wishes. They respond only to definite plans backed by definite desires through constant persistence. The no you hear today is merely a temporary event. Persistence is the permanent attitude that outlasts every no until it finally, inevitably, becomes a yes. To fuel this persistence, you need a source of energy that goes beyond mere willpower. You need the collective power of a dedicated group, and you need to understand the mysterious force that guides your deepest impulses. Chapter 10. Power of the Master Mind, the Driving Force. We have mentioned the master mind before, but its importance cannot be overstated. The 9th step to riches is the conscious, deliberate harnessing of this power. Economic advantages of the master mind principle are these. You may share the knowledge and experience of every other person in the group. You may share the collective labor of every person in the group. You may benefit from the psychic chemistry of the group, that intangible third mind that is created. No one can accomplish anything of significance without the cooperation of others. The master mind is the coordination of that cooperation in its most efficient and harmonious form. Andrew Carnegie's colossal fortune was built not on his own knowledge of steelmaking, but on his ability to surround himself with a mastermind group of experts in chemistry, engineering, management, and sales, whom he inspired to work together in perfect harmony. When a group of individual minds are coordinated and function in harmony, the increased energy created becomes available to every individual brain in the group. It is like having multiple mental batteries connected in parallel. The total available power is vastly greater than the sum of the individual parts. This is the driving force that amplifies your persistence, sharpens your decisions, and gives wings to your plans. But to access this higher level of power, you must first master the inner demons that reside in your own mind. Chapter 11. The Mystery of Sex Transmutation. This is a chapter that, in its original form, reflects the time in which it was written, but its core psychological principle is timeless and crucial. Sex transmutation is the channeling of the powerful energy of sexual desire into creative, productive, or spiritual pursuits. The emotion of sex is the most powerful of all human desires. When harnessed and redirected, this energy can lift one to a level of creative genius and heightened persistence that is otherwise unattainable. It is a secret energy that all great leaders, artists, and innovators, whether consciously or unconsciously, have learned to use. Sex energy is the creative energy of all geniuses. It is not mere lust. It is a profound, life-giving force. When this energy is simply expressed in its physical form, it is powerful. But when it is restrained and transmuted, when it is redirected from purely physical expression into other channels, such as the pursuit of one's definite purpose, it becomes an unstoppable force. A person who is driven by a burning desire for a goal often finds their interest in purely physical expression diminishes, not out of repression, but because that immense energy is being channeled into their work, their art, their business. This redirected energy gives them a magnetism, a vitality, a persuasive power that is palpable. It is the fire in the belly that marks all great achievers. They have taken the most potent natural force and used it to fuel their ambition. Mastering this internal energy is a critical step, but to truly build a fortune, you must also understand how to work with the most powerful force in the external world, the minds of others. Chapter 12. The Subconscious Mind, the Connecting Link. The subconscious mind is the filing cabinet of your brain. It stores every thought impulse that reaches the conscious mind. It is the creative gardener that can grow any seed you plant there, whether it is a seed of poverty or a seed of riches. It is the link to infinite intelligence. You cannot entirely control your subconscious mind, but you can voluntarily hand over to it any plan, desire, or purpose you wish transformed into concrete form. We have already discussed this through autosuggestion. By repeatedly feeding your subconscious mind with your definite chief aim, mixed with faith and emotion, you program it to work ceaselessly toward that goal. The subconscious mind works day and night. While you sleep, it is sorting through the data of your experiences, making connections and formulating plans. How many times have you gone to bed with a problem and woken up with the solution? That was your subconscious mind at work. It is a faithful servant, but it does not discriminate. It will work just as hard to bring you fears and worries as it will to bring you riches and success, depending on the thoughts you dominate it with. This is why guarding your mind against negative influences is so critical. You must be the watchman at the gate of your own mind, allowing only positive, constructive, and faith-driven thoughts to enter. Your subconscious mind is the final, crucial link that takes the plans and desires you have formulated consciously and connects them to the vast resources of the universe. But to complete this process, you must use a specific tool to communicate with it. Chapter 13. The Brain, a broadcasting and receiving station for thought. Hill presents a theory that your brain is more than just an organ. It is a complex broadcasting and receiving station for the vibration of thought. Your brain picks up the thought vibrations from the brains of others, and it also broadcasts your own thought vibrations out into the world. This explains the power of the master mind group. When brains are coordinated in a spirit of harmony, they create a powerful broadcasting station that sends out a clear, strong signal of shared purpose. This signal attracts the people, resources, and circumstances necessary to fulfill that purpose. It also explains the power of your own thoughts. When your mind is dominated by the fear of poverty, you are broadcasting a signal of lack and need, and you will attract more circumstances of lack and need. When your mind is dominated by a burning desire for riches, backed by faith and a definite plan, you broadcast a signal of power and abundance, which attracts corresponding circumstances. This is not mystical fantasy, but a principle of energy and vibration. To be an effective broadcaster, your station must be fine-tuned. This tuning is achieved through the 12 principles we have already discussed: desire, faith, autosuggestion, specialized knowledge, imagination, organized planning, decision, persistence, the master mind, sex transmutation, the subconscious mind, and finally, understanding the brain itself. But there is one more force you must understand, a force that can either build your empire or destroy it from within. Chapter 14. The Sixth Sense, the Door to the Temple of Wisdom. The 13th and final step to riches is the sixth sense. This is the apex of the philosophy. It can only be understood, appreciated, and applied after you have mastered the other 12 principles. The sixth sense is that part of the subconscious mind which has been referred to as creative imagination. It is the guardian angel that can warn you of impending danger and alert you to opportunities. It is the faculty through which you receive hunches and inspirations that seem to come from nowhere. It is the door to infinite intelligence. You cannot command the sixth sense. You can only cultivate it, prepare yourself for its arrival. You do this by following the other 12 principles. As you develop definiteness of purpose, faith, and persistence, as you work in harmony with a master mind group, and as you learn to transmute your energy, you become a more receptive vessel for the sixth sense. This is the summit of self-discipline. When you have achieved this level of personal development, you will find yourself making the right decision without knowing why. You will avoid danger just in time. You will meet the right person at the right moment. The sixth sense is the ultimate tool, the final piece that puts all the other principles into a perfectly synchronized flow. However, to reach this height, you must first clear your mind of its greatest enemies. Chapter 15. How to outwit the 6 ghosts of fear. Before you can effectively apply any of these principles, you must clear your mind of the 6 basic fears. These fears are nothing but states of mind. They are ghosts. They have no power except the power you give them. They are the fear of poverty, the fear of criticism, the fear of ill health, the fear of loss of love of someone, the fear of old age, the fear of death. All these fears are symptoms of poverty consciousness and a lack of faith. They are the weeds that will choke out the seeds of desire you are trying to plant. The most destructive of all is the fear of poverty. It is the source of most of the worries and anxieties that plague humanity. It leads to indecision, doubt, and worry. You must analyze yourself and determine which of these fears are holding you back. Then, you must make a conscious decision to eject them from your mind. You do this by filling your mind with their opposites, with thoughts of abundance, of courage, of health, of love, of vitality, and of life. There is no room for fear in a mind that is occupied with a burning desire, backed by faith. Fear is a habit. So is courage. You can develop the habit of courage by acting as if you are already courageous. Your actions control your mind just as your mind controls your actions. So we have come full circle. We have explored the 13 steps to riches, a philosophy proven by the lives of hundreds of America's most successful individuals. We have seen that it all begins with a thought forged in the fires of a burning desire, shaped by faith, and given wings through imagination and a definite plan. This is not a secret to be hidden, but a law to be used. It is available to you right now. The only question that remains is the one you must ask yourself. What is your definite chief aim? What is it that you desire with such a burning intensity that you are willing to commit to these steps, to outwit your fears, to persist through every setback, and to think yourself into riches? The secret, the entire secret, is waiting for you to claim it. The path has been laid out. The choice now is yours.